All right, let's just jump right in. We've all felt it, right? That constant nagging pressure on marketing teams to move faster, react to everything instantly. But here's the thought. What if all that rushing around isn't actually an advantage? What if it's just creating a ton of chaos, wasted effort, and, you guessed it, burnout?
And look, this isn't just a hunch. The data is pretty clear. A recent Marketing Week survey found that a staggering 58% of marketers felt totally overwhelmed last year. That's not just people having a bad week. That's a sign that something is fundamentally broken in how we operate.
And this is the name of the beast. Urgency theater. It looks and feels like you're being productive, right? Everyone's sprinting, messages are flying, processes are being bypassed for the sake of agility. But in reality, it's just chaos dressed up as action. You're burning a ton of fuel, but not actually getting anywhere meaningful. So this really brings up a critical question you have to ask yourself. When that next big opportunity or market signal hits, is your team's response fast and controlled, or is it just frantic? Honestly, the difference between those two is everything. This leads us to the heart of the matter. The whole burnout problem, it isn't about people not working hard enough. It's not about a lack of resilience. It's about the system, or, the lack of a system that your team is forced to work in. I want you to really let this sink in. This quote completely reframes the entire problem. Burnout is not your team's fault. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a flashing red light telling you that the system itself is poorly designed. And you can see the two mindsets right here. On the left, you have the typical response, blame the person. Tell them to be more resilient, to manage their time better. And on the right, you have the correct diagnosis, the system is broken. You stop trying to fix your people and you start fixing the actual process. So, okay, how do we fix the process? Well, you have to engineer speed. You design it into the system from the ground up. And that's where this framework, the 72-hour turnaround, comes in. Think of it less like a series of frantic sprints and more like a predictable, repeatable machine. The whole thing is broken down into these really clear time-boxed phases. And pay attention to that first one, phase 0. That's the secret sauce. It's all the prep work you do before an opportunity even appears. From there, it's a disciplined march. Qualify the signal, assemble the campaign, activate it, and then measure. See? The speed comes from the discipline, not from chaos.
And this right here, this is the core principle that makes it all possible. You're not trying to invent a branding masterpiece from scratch every single time. You're running an assembly line. You have a library of pre-built, pre-approved parts, and your job is to assemble them quickly and effectively. That's the game changer.
Now, to keep this finely tuned machine from sliding back into total chaos, you need some rules. These aren't just suggestions. They are 5 non-negotiable guardrails that protect the team, the timeline, and the whole process. Rule number 1 is a big one. No more brainstorms in Slack. Major decisions cannot live and die in a messy chat thread where context gets lost in minutes. They have to be captured in a real, official document. This gives you clarity, accountability, and a paper trail. All right, rule 2, and this might be the most important one. No executive drive-bys. Leadership input is absolutely crucial at the very beginning to greenlight the project, and at the very end to review the results. But in the middle, during execution, that's a protected zone. This single rule will save you from so much scope creep and chaos. Rule 3 is all about focus. No channel sprawl. You limit these rapid response campaigns to a maximum of 4 channels. Why? Because it forces discipline. It makes execution tighter, measurement clearer, and the whole campaign way more effective. And Rule 4 is the engine that drives the whole assembly line. The default, the go-to, the first move you always make is to reuse existing assets. Creating something brand new and bespoke from scratch, that should be the rare, well-justified exception, not the everyday norm. And finally, the rule that makes the entire system smarter over time. You never, ever, ever skip the measurement phase. If you launch something and don't measure its impact immediately, you've learned nothing. And if you learn nothing, you're just going to repeat the same frantic cycle all over again next time. So when you put all these pieces together, the structured phases and those non-negotiable rules, something amazing happens. Speed stops being this stressful, chaotic thing. It becomes, well, kind of boring. And that's a good thing.
It becomes predictable, sustainable, and just another operational muscle your team can flex. I mean, just look at the difference here. On the left, you have the old way, reacting to weak signals, building everything from scratch, measuring way too late, and just relying on pure heroics. And on the right, you have this system: clear signals, modular assembly, immediate learning, and a repeatable structure. It's night and day. And that's really the big takeaway here. The teams that actually win in the long run aren't the ones with the fastest typists or the people who can pull the most all-nighters. They're the ones who are the best system designers. The competitive advantage comes from the intelligence of the system, not the brute force of the individuals. So that leaves us with one last question to think about. Because the next market signal, it's coming. It's inevitable. And when it hits, will your team be forced to scramble in that familiar state of chaotic urgency, or will they be able to calmly and confidently execute a system they trust? The choice is really up to you.